Welcome back. Today we're diving deep into soul purpose.
Ah, a fascinating topic.
It really is. We'll be using two articles from the Spiritual Seek.
Examining shared ideas, unique insights.
Right. And this core question. One big purpose for our lives. Or does each of us kind of forge a unique path?
It's a question that, well, these articles handle really thoughtfully, I think.
Yeah. And the first article, it starts with a pretty interesting concept, a twofold purpose for human existence. It starts by saying we are spiritual beings, but we're having a physical experience, the journey of the soul and its ultimate return to what the article calls source.
Yeah, it almost like reframes how we think about life's purpose, Like
Yeah.
it's not just about what we do in this lifetime, it's about the soul and like its journey and evolution.
Right, and the soul's connection to this higher realm.
Exactly.
So then it gets into this first part of this twofold purpose,
Yeah.
expressing yourself
Mm-hmm.
fully and authentically. Like we all come into this world with this unique essence, right?
We do.
But then as we go through life, it's like we pick up all these layers.
Layers that really can obscure our true selves.
You do.
It's like trying to see through, I don't know, like layers of dusty fabric or something.
Yeah.
And those layers, they really manifest in all sorts of ways. Seeking approval, avoiding pain, trying to fit in with what society tells us we should be. And then on top of that, we take on roles too. Parent, employee, friend, and it's like all of that. It can take us further and further from, who we really are at our core.
Yeah, it's like you end up playing a character.
You do.
So the article really encourages us to think about that. Think about what those layers are.
Yeah, to look at those layers and to really examine how they might be holding us back from expressing our true selves.
Yeah. And it's not just a personal thing, right? This shedding of the layers.
You're right. It's not just about us as individuals. It goes beyond that. And it leads us to the second part of this twofold purpose, the impact we make on the world.
Yeah, on the world around us, but also the spiritual realm.
Right, both physical and spiritual. This idea that everything's connected, that our actions have these ripple effects.
It talks about group meditation as an example.
Oh, yeah. The research on that is fascinating. Like, studies have shown that when a large group of people meditate together, it can actually lead to a reduction in crime rates.
So like our consciousness can have a real tangible effect on the world.
Absolutely. The article even mentions how some people believe that group meditation might have played a role in major historical events, like the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Wow. It's like that saying, as above, so below.
Yeah, exactly. What's happening inside of us is reflected in the outside world. If we cultivate inner peace, it stands to reason that our surroundings would become more peaceful.
Right. Like if everyone focused on cultivating inner peace, the world would be a very different place.
A much more harmonious place.
Definitely. And the second article we're looking at today, it goes into the journey of the soul.
And how it connects to purpose.
It starts by saying we all have these questions about life's meaning.
Our place in the cosmos, what happens after we die?
Big questions, right?
The big questions.
And this article, it presents a perspective that we're here to know ourselves.
To know God.
And to cultivate a love for all, for everyone and everything.
Yeah. It suggests that a lot of times we get it backwards. We think of ourselves as just physical beings, and it's like we happen to have a soul, but really...
We're spiritual beings having a physical experience.
Exactly.
And that shift, that change in perspective, it changes how we understand our existence.
And ultimately our purpose.
So then the article introduces meditation, almost like a scientific experiment for the soul, it calls it.
And specifically, it highlights this practice called SOS meditation, where you focus on the inner light of God.
It's about quieting the mind.
Right, and turning our attention inward to foster a connection with the divine that's within us.
It says that through this practice we can, it uses the word awaken to the soul's longing to return to its source.
And through that, gain a deeper understanding of life's purpose.
I like that. Awaken.
Me too. There's a certain poetry to it.
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty powerful stuff,
Yeah.
This idea that you can experience the soul directly and how that can change your life.
Yeah, transformational even. It says this connection to this divine presence, it can shift how we see ourselves and the world around us.
It talks about moving from like fear and anxiety and all that to, a place of love.
Fearlessness.
Yeah, and becoming aware of the divine in everyone and all beings.
Which kind of ties back to that first article, right? That idea that we impact both the physical and the spiritual realm.
Yeah, both of them. It's all connected. We're all connected.
So by recognizing that, by understanding that, maybe that inspires us to serve others. to try to make the world better.
To play our part in creating a more peaceful world, a more compassionate world.
Right. And the first article, it talks about this idea of living with no regrets, aligning our actions with a higher purpose. It brings up Don Juan from those Carlos Castaneda books.
Oh, yeah, the concept of death being our advisor, living with death on your shoulder.
It's a strong image. But it makes you think, doesn't it, about how precious life is, how every moment counts.
It really does. Forces you to look at your choices, your actions, and like ask yourself, if this was it, if this was all the time I had left, would I be okay with how I'm living?
Would I have any regrets?
Exactly. And if the answer is no, then maybe it's time to make some changes.
To really start living with intention, living a life that's, true to who we are.
True to our deepest values, and maybe even more importantly, a life that's aligned with something bigger than ourselves.
So both articles, even though they take different paths, it feels like they both lead to this same idea: self-discovery,
Transform me.
living a life that reflects our true nature, not just as physical beings, but spiritual beings too.
It's like they offer this, I don't know, a framework, like a way to navigate this complicated world and all the challenges we face.
Right. Like a reminder that we're not just, products of our environment or whatever.
Yeah. Right, that we have this innate purpose, this capacity for real growth and for making a difference in the world.
And that our understanding of soul purpose, it can change. It can deepen over time.
It's an ongoing process, an ongoing journey,
Yeah.
and it's a journey that's unique to each individual.
But there are tools that can help,
Right.
like meditation. That second article, it really highlights that.
Yeah, meditation can be a powerful tool for connecting with our inner wisdom, for gaining clarity, for figuring out what our path is, our unique path.
Wow, a lot to think about. These articles, they cover so much. This twofold purpose, the soul's journey, and then like the power of meditation, how it can transform us.
Yeah. I mean, where do we even begin?
Maybe with, what are the biggest takeaways here for our listener? What do you think they should, really remember?
I think at the core of it all, it's this idea that we are spiritual beings and we're having this physical experience. And that's really the key to understanding, what we're doing here. What's our purpose? What does it all mean?
And the articles, they don't just want us to think about it, right? They want us to, actually do something, to discover ourselves, shed those layers, and live a life that aligns with our soul's purpose.
Exactly. It's a call to action, to be who we really are, to connect with that inner wisdom, and then use our gifts, use our talents to make the world a better place.
And, they talk about, each soul being this unique expression of the divine.
Right.
So, if that's true, what contribution is each of us, each listener, meant to make, doing our time here?
It's a big question, isn't it? It's a question that, everyone has to answer for themselves. But I think these articles, they give us a framework, a way to start looking for those answers, to look inward and connect with our own sense of purpose.
Yeah. And they don't say this is, the definitive answer.
Right.
It's more like a guide, a starting point for this journey. And it's a journey that, it keeps going, evolving as we evolve.
And the most important thing, I think, is to remember you're not alone on this journey. We are all connected. And the more we support each other, the more we grow. The more we all awaken together.
Yeah.
And maybe, just maybe, we can create that more compassionate and harmonious world.
I like that, a collective awakening. And on that note, I think that's about all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive, and we hope it's given you some, food for thought, maybe some inspiration for your own journey, your own exploration of soul purpose.